Meeting call to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Perkins Auguste. Councilman Questa.
Here.
Councilman Grover. Councilman Torres.
Here.
Councilman Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilman Keenan.
Here.
Councilman Sedano.
Here.
Councilman Mazza.
Present.
President Ball.
Here, 7 members present, Madam Clerk. This is a regular conference of the City Council as incorporated in the annual meeting notice of 2013, which was filed in the City Clerk's office and posted on the bulletin board of December 27, 2012, and sent to the Star Ledger and Home News Tribune in compliance with the provision of the Open Public Meeting Law of New Jersey. I'd like to recognize Councilman Grover. At this time, we're going to have public speaking. Any resident or taxpayer would like to address City Council in the matter, please step forward, state your name and address for the record, please.
Councilwoman, are you going to speak in the beginning?
Is no concern with public?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then it's Robert Friend from the city. But we have a common prayer for landlords where they business work to make money.
Money. Silent prayer. Okay. I'd like to recognize Councilwoman at Large, Patricia Perkins Auguste. Okay. Any resident or taxpayer would like to address City Council in the matters, please step forward, state your name and address for the record, please.
Where, just from here?
Yes.
Over here. All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Councilwoman Angela Garrettson. Hello.
Hello.
I was able to share my information with most people who came a little early. President, may I?
Yes.
Thank you. And I believe only one other council person I did not provide this to, Councilman. So I'm here tonight to share with you, I know that we actually, our clerk's office sent a letter to you about our 100th anniversary. Well, I'm here tonight very excited to share with you to be a little bit more involved. We are excited to have a parade. We will have a 1913 car, and I'm inviting any of you and all of you to maybe be in that parade and be in that parade with us, representing our communities. It's so close. And I'm just really excited because Hillside, of course, was a part of Elizabethtown. So as we do our history, it would be a pleasure to have all of you really participate. I'm asking you to also participate in doing an ad, a collective ad. The minimum maybe would be a $20 per person ad. And I've shown an example of what our ad journal is going to look like. It's been done in Bloomfield and Orange and some other places, and it's a wonderful journal. 10,000 copies will be actually distributed to all of our residents. So we're really excited about that, and it would be just a wonderful partnership if you guys also agree to do an ad and represent Elizabeth. Does anyone have questions?
Can I ride in the car?
I would definitely you can ride in the car with me. It might be actually a convertible, so we'll still make sure that people see. But I've also provided you this evening a schedule of events. We're having a parade, which is our big culminating activity. We're having fireworks. We're having a Hillside Day with a carnival. We have actually buried our time capsule, and we're going to put a new time capsule in. So if Elizabeth would also like to put something in that time capsule, I think that would be a wonderful memory as well.
Does one of my colleagues go inside the car?
It depends on which one, but
It depends on how long you're going to keep it. That's really the question.
And I've also provided my card on the table as well, so please feel free to reach out to me. But we do have a time frame. This letter did come to you earlier in the month. It was actually, the deadline was Monday, so I'm here again today just to please urge you to be involved because we really will love your support. Thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to see all of you this evening.
Thank you. Any other person like to address City Council? Any resident or city or taxpayer like to address City Council in the matter? Any resident or taxpayer like to address City Council in the matter?
Yes, I know I looked up to
No?
that.
Okay,
The
fine.
next thing,
Once again, any resident or taxpayer like to address City Council in the matter? Seeing none, close this portion of the meeting. At this time, before we go into our regular session, we have a couple of litigation that we need to take care of. So I need a motion to close during the closed session. Move that second, roll call.
All right. Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas this public body is of the opinion that certain circumstances presently exist, and whereas the governing body wishes to discuss a matter falling within the attorney-client privilege, minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires that confidentiality, then the minutes can be made public. Now therefore be it resolved that the public be excluded from this meeting. Councilwoman Perkins Dusting.
Aye.
Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Grover.
Aye.
Councilman Torres. Councilman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Keenan. Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza.
Aye.
President Gallman.
Aye, 9 ayes.
13 from His Honor the Mayor, subject to confirmation of your honorable body, I herewith appoint Ms. Denise George Carroll, 18 Barnard Place, Elizabeth, to serve as a member of the Elizabeth Housing Authority to fill the unexpired term of Commissioner Barbara Shannon, who has recently resigned.
Any question? Put it on.
Letter dated April 11, 2013, from the Business Administrator, requesting that your honorable body consider calling on state legislature and the governor to require school districts, county governments, and fire districts to share in the burden of property assessment appeal refunds.
Any question? Put it on.
Letter dated April 11, 2013, from the Business Administrator requesting authorization for the purchasing agent to initiate a sealed bid process to purchase 30 LWRCI .556 Model M6 SLG rifles and 3 Model M6G rifles through the proprietary goods and services provision of the Elizabeth Police Department, for the Elizabeth Police Department.
Any question?
I have a
Get
question.
ready.
I have a
Just in
question.
case you have a right. Yeah.
Are these to replace the existing rifles?
I'm not certain of
I'm
that.
not sure. Yeah. They're replacing the, Don?
I will find out. I don't believe that they're replacements. I know they're gonna be paid for out of the federal forfeiture funds, if that adds any,
Would you get that information back for us?
I absolutely will.
Do we have an amount?
We believe it to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $50,000. However, because it's a sealed bid, we're obviously hoping it comes in less than that.
I think you got 42.
42,000.
All right, okay.
31 they're currently using right now.
Letter dated April 12, 2013, from the Business Administrator recommending awarding a contract to Dickman Flemington Ford, Flemington, New Jersey, for the purchase of vehicle parts and repairs for various departments under the Somerset County Cooperative Purchasing Contract for the period April 9, 2013 through April 9, 2014, at a cost not to exceed $50,000.
Any questions? Put it on.
Letter dated April 12, 2013, from the Business Administrator requesting authorization for the purchasing agent and/or other proper city officials to commence with the competitive contracting process in order to draft a request for proposal for the purpose of selecting an energy services company to initiate an energy savings improvement plan.
Any questions? Put it on.
Letter dated April 12, 2013, from the Business Administrator, recommending awarding a contract regarding State Highway Products, Vineland, New Jersey, for aluminum sign blanks for the Public Works Department for the period April 11, 2013 through April 30, 2014, at a cost not to exceed $50,000.
Any questions? Put it on.
Letter dated April 12, 2013, from the Business Administrator recommending awarding a contract to W.B. Mason Company, Secaucus, New Jersey, for the purchasing of office supplies including toner and cartridges for printers and fax machines for all departments and divisions for the period April 12, 2013 through January 24, 2014, at a cost not to exceed $150,000.
Any questions? Put it on.
Letter dated April 12, 2013, from the Business Administrator advising that being satisfied that an emergency did exist, recommends the award of a contract to Rana Construction, Inc., North New Jersey, for the demolition of 256 2nd Street in the amount of $23,800, and that's for information. Letter dated April 12, 2013, from the Business Administrator, requesting permission for the purchasing agent to make the necessary arrangements to auction impounded property in the possession of the Elizabeth Police Department with PropertyRoom.com, state pre-approved online auction site. Days of sale will be set by the auction company and published in the Star Ledger, contingent upon City Council's approval.
Any questions?
This is one, Mr. President. Can we be notified when they,
Take place.
yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I think Councilman Grova brought up last time, like anything that's not auctioned off, what happens to it, and I think we're supposed to get back to him. Yeah.
Did you ever get the information, Councilman?
No.
Okay.
If I could give a crack at that,
Go ahead.
and now.
Go ahead.
So it's my understanding that anything that's not auctioned off is junked by the city. However, we're in the process of looking at the possibility of not donating, but selling it nominally to a local nonprofit. But I'll have more information hopefully.
Okay,
Great.
Would you also, with that, Don, just let us know what they are going to junk, you know what I mean? At the end, just get us.
What didn't get sold?
What did it get sold?
Yeah. Okay.
I think, yes, I can, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Just like, Mr. President, just for example, like on the list, there's tons of bicycles.
Bicycle, right?
So, you know, there's so many kids that during the summertime could be blessed by it, so,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay. Okay, put it on. Don, if you can, see if you can get that information prior to us having the meeting next Tuesday, if you can.
Sure.
Okay, sure. Yes, go ahead.
Letter dated April 15, 2013, from the Business Administrator, requesting to amend the resolution dated March 26, 2013, awarding a contract to East Coast Emergency Lighting for emergency lighting and installation for the Police Department in an amount not to exceed $150,000 under state contract number 81338, specifically to include the state contract number 81336.
Any questions? Put it on.
Letter dated April 16, 2013, from the Business Administrator, requesting authorization for the City of Elizabeth Planning Board to review the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection's Model Flood Damage Prevention Ordinance and make recommendations to your honorable body for adoption.
Any questions? Put it on.
Letter dated April 16, 2013, from the Business Administrator, recommending that an ordinance be adopted amending the city's table of organization of classified and unclassified titles, specifically ordinance number 1747.
Any questions? Put it on.
Letter dated April 16, 2013, from the Business Administrator, recommending that an ordinance be adopted amending Chapter 2.60.90 of the Code of the City of Elizabeth, specifically relating to the table of organization of the Elizabeth Fire Department.
Any questions? Put it on.
Letter dated April 16, 2013, from the Business Administrator, recommending amending Chapter 2.56.110B of the Code of the City of Elizabeth, specifically relating to the table of organization of the Elizabeth Police Department.
Any questions? Put it on.
Letter dated April 16, 2013, from the Chief Financial Officer, advising that additional grants may be appropriated in the 2013 state fiscal year budget by budget amendments, Chapter 159.
Any questions? Put it on.
Letter dated April 10, 2013, from the Chief Financial Officer, requesting to amend the cash management plan of the City of Elizabeth, effective January 1, 2013 through December 31st, 2013, specifically to include Section 5, designation of official authorized to sign checks.
Any questions? Put it on.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I have a question. Is that to eliminate all the signatures that we have? Sometimes we see a check that's about 4 people signing versus only 1 person, which will be the treasurer. Is that correct?
Don? I don't think so.
No, that's not what that's
That's not
saying.
what for is.
All right, where's this at?
Saying that on all checks, bills, claims, and demands from the city should be signed by the following city officials: mayor, BA, CFO, and city treasurer.
Right.
The only exception is city payroll account, which is just signed by the city treasurer. That's it.
And
Nothing more.
we're doing that right now. Certain checks, like for instance, if we get reimbursed for our cell phone that we use, our telephone, there's always 3 or 4 names. If we're getting a payroll check, that thing is only 1 name.
That's correct, yes.
That's what we're doing right now. So what are
Correct.
we?
But there may be instances that I'm not aware of where the 4 individuals that I just mentioned don't sign the check.
Which is
And I think this is just
unnecessary.
bringing that policy into union.
Okay, thank you, no problem.
Councilman?
Thanks, yeah.
President?
Letter dated April 3rd, 2013, from the Director of Planning and Community Development, requesting to rescind the resolution dated March 12, 2013, authorizing an owner-occupied basic program deferred payment loan on the property located at 763 Thomas Street in an amount not to exceed $15,000.
Any questions?
Letter dated April 10, 2013, from the Director of Planning and Community Development, requesting authorization for the proper city officials to extend the term of the contract between the city and Rutgers Cooperative Extension 4-H program to August 31st, 2013, due to the delay of hiring suitable staff.
Any questions?
I do, Mr. President.
Councilman Grover?
Could we find out where this program is going to be held? And when they do get started, if we get a list of the kids that are going to be participating?
Donnie, can you see if you get
Yes,
that
Mr. President.
before,
They used to do it down at the Mac building, but nobody can go to the Mac building now. So,
try to get that to us done before next meeting.
Absolutely.
Anything else, Councilman?
nope.
Okay. Put it on.
Letter dated April 12, 2013, from the Director of Planning and Community Development, requesting to amend the resolution dated November 28, 2013, authorizing an owner-occupied basic program deferred payment loan on the property located at 475 Catherine Street, Unit 106B, specifically to adjust the affordability period to 10 years.
Any questions? Put it on.
2012, not 13.
2012.
Letter dated April 12, 2013. Letter dated from the Director of Planning and Community Development, requesting an ordinance creating the Greater Elizabeth Tourism Improvement District and designating the Greater Elizabeth Destination Marketing Organization as the district management cooperative.
Any questions?
Mr. President,
Yes, Councilman.
ordinarily, a special improvement district is a particular business area. Is this citywide?
This is citywide, but it encompasses all of the
Okay.
the hotels.
And what's the funding mechanism?
1% of the cost.
1% of the cost.
I think this is a great idea.
No, if I may.
Councilman.
I think it's a great idea also, and I like the idea of having a tourism improvement area district mechanism here in the city. But I also recall that the Greater Elizabeth Chamber of Commerce entered into a regional convention visitors bureau with the city of Newark. Actually, I think back in November, we took some of that money that was allocated towards that, and we reallocated it to do some of the UEZ patrols, I believe. Now, I don't know if this is being put together to supplement that, to replace that, but I'd like to know what is the status of the Regional Convention Visitors Bureau that they put together, and now they're recommending this. The other problem I have with it, I don't have a problem, I see that they're gonna charge an assessment fee to the hotels, those that are on this list. It's not very clear if it's the entire city, but they make reference to this schedule, Schedule A. The Schedule A only has the list of and the names of certain hotels. So is this gonna be to promote the hotels or to promote the city of Elizabeth? And what is the district? it's really not clear. It says they call this the district, but it's just the lots and block numbers and the addresses of these particular hotels, okay? The other thing I have a problem with is that I won't support it I will support it only if it's gonna promote the city of Elizabeth and not other areas. And I'm concerned about that because as I look here, it seems they're saying they're supporting and promoting Elizabeth, but yet why in their board of directors they're including the CEO of the Newark Regional Business Partnership? So I have concern with that as well. So they have several concerns. I don't know if, are they gonna hire somebody to run this? They're gonna put this board together as well? And is this board gonna do it, or are they planning to hire a director or other staff? They have a section where they can hire employees. So also need to, you know, so I just have a lot of questions. So if we could hold this one up, Mr. President, I would like to do that.
You wanna hold it?
I would ask if possible, if Councilman gets his questions answered by Tuesday, we could pick this thing up.
Councilman,
Yeah, I'd like to hold it, Mr. President.
you request to hold it?
Yes. I have a number of others, just some of the concerns that I
All right,
have.
okay. I'm going to grant Councilman Gonzalez a wish on holding this up until they get the answer answer from this question that he raised. Okay? So we'll hold this up, okay?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Additional.
Okay, all right. Yeah, go ahead.
Letter dated April 15, 2013, from the Director of Planning and Community Development, requesting authorization to extend the contract with Groundwork Elizabeth, Inc. for its spring planter program to December 31st, 2013.
Any questions? Wait on.
Letter dated April 12, 2013, from the Director of Public Works, requesting permission to have liens placed against properties that are listed on Schedule A for the boarding up of said properties in the amount of $2,464.92.
Any questions? Wait on.
Dated April 12, 2013, from the Director of Public Works, requesting permission to have liens placed against the properties listed on Schedule A for the removal and disposal of debris from said properties in the amount of $2,111.98.
Any questions? Wait on.
Letter dated April 15, 2013, from the Director of Public Works, requesting authorization for the proper city officials to execute an agreement with URS Group, Inc., Sanchez Industrial Designing, for the installation of a noise monitor at the Elizabeth Marina, located at 71 Front Street, to measure sound levels generated by the dredging activities in the Arthur Kill that will be taking place over the next 2 years. URS Group, Inc., Sanchez Industrial Designing, is offering a payment to the City of Elizabeth in the amount of $25 per month to cover the cost of electric.
Any questions?
I don't have, I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Go ahead,
I mean,
Councilman.
I don't have a problem with this, it's just, been doing this for already 2 years as it is, so they wait 2 years to set the monitor out there, I mean, our houses get rattled every time they explode a dynamite under the bottom of the river. I mean, it hasn't been going on for the last couple of months.
Yeah.
So now it seems like, now after all the heavy stuff has been done, now they go and monitor the noise. Sure.
So you okay with Councilman?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right, letter dated April 12, 2013, from the Elizabeth Planning Board, recommending that your honorable body adopt an ordinance amending and superseding City of Elizabeth Land Development Code, Chapter 17, Sections 17.36.20, prevailing conditions, 17.36.30, temporary tract office, 17.36.80 and 17.36.90, non-conformance, 17.36.100, lot dimensions, 17.36.110, yard dimensions, 17.36.125, minimum square footage for commercial space, 17.3.160, Schedule 3, conditional uses, and 17.48.80, signs. I think that's .36160.
Any question?
Mr. President.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if you recall, we held this item up.
that's correct. I was just going back.
last- Okay,
Go ahead.
go ahead, Mr. President.
That's all right. That's all right. You kind of, that's all right. Like I said, as the councilman just stated, and I'm going to say that we held this up before, and we wanted the law department to review it. This is a result of that. It came before the planning board, as you know, part of the memo of the planning board. They reviewed it, and after they reviewed it, they sent it down to us, which would mean the planning board, and we went over it also. And so this is a result of all that hard work we did, I guess, a few months ago, something like that. So, okay. All right. Okay.
Letter dated April 4, 2013, from the city treasurer submitting the treasurer's report of receipts and disbursements for the month of January 2013 and statement of bank balances and investments as of January 31st, 2013.
Any questions? Hold on.
Okay, I have a commendation for Michael Mazurowski from the Health Department. Also for Mr. Richard Higgins.
No, he's retiring.
They're both retired?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
A lot of experience between those two guys.
Exactly. Yeah, go do this, man.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
And then I also have a memorial for Councilman Torres at his request for Miss Clara Sessom.
All right, next round, Councilwoman.
Mr. President, I know everyone was aware of the fire that happened because of,
Bars over window.
yeah, the illegal dwelling that the people, you know, the woman basically perished because she could not get the bars, and the fire department and personnel all was in harm's way because of the illegality of the housing in which the resident lived in. I'm just trying to look at the table of organization that we are going to be approving or voting on next week, and trying to see where is there some more inspectors and housing inspectors to make sure, you know, there have been a lot of concerns. A lot of residents called me after the fire, once they found out that the incident, the lives were lost because of, you know, the bars on the window, and I think they thought the housing was actually supposed to have been a garage or something. You know, we really need to talk to our housing division to make sure that illegal housing, you know, is not just looked upon as something that happens in urban cities and it's okay, because lives are at stake. So I just wanted to make sure that we talk to our, send something down to our house, well, I'm talking to the, yeah, make sure now that, you know, the snow is clear, the weather is warm, you know, Sandy storm is out of the way, that we really do our due diligence. You know, because unfortunately, you know, when we have, you know, codes, the codes are there to save people lives. Codes are made and laws are there so that people can govern themselves so they don't be in harm's way. That we're not there to be punitive, we're not there just to be government, we're there to make sure there's a balance in our society. And when people think that they don't have to follow the codes or they don't have to follow the rules and do what's necessary, lives are lost, you know, property, you know, is damaged. So I just want to make sure that our housing division, a number of residents called me, they was like, you know, Councilwoman, there's so many illegal dwellings throughout our city, you know, they're afraid. You know, people are generally afraid that something like that happens again. You know, what's going to happen to the people living next door? It's just a, you know, it's a rainbow, it's an effect, a domino effect that, you know, can really hurt people. You know, you have police personnel hurt, you have fire personnel hurt, you had loss of life. For what? For someone to make a quick dollar without going through the proper codes? I think life is worth more than a quick dollar, so I just want to make sure that we, we do what we need to do. And you have the support of council. I hope I can say that.
Yes,
um,
yes, yeah, most definitely.
Okay, so you have our support.
Anything else, Councilwoman?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
One other thing, the young Councilwoman Angela Garrison
Yes.
from Hillside.
Yes.
I'm just hoping that we all can probably take part in this big event that they're happening. She mentioned something about an ad as a collective ad. I know normally we as council do not do collective ads, but other municipalities, they do council as a whole ads, when the event warrants that. And I believe this event warrants that, because as you know, Hillside was a part of Elizabethtown, and we will be honoring Elizabethtown come next year. So it's just a big thing that's happening. I guess it's quincentennial, the centennials, all of these things are happening, and I'm just hoping that colleagues as a whole can take part. And she said something about $20 a
Yeah,
person.
possibly,
Where was that
possibly.
at?
I don't see it anywhere here. I was gonna ask that too.
Yeah, I think she left
Here it
it.
is, on the back.
In the back.
In
So
the
I
back,
guess
yeah.
she's trying to do a page or something, a quarter page or something. And 20, but that's not $20. No, it's gonna be $30.
An eighth of the page is $20 a person. That's $180.
I mean, I'm just trying to get a consensus. Do you want to do $20 an ad or $30 an ad, whereby online members can be listed?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
Maybe our law department or maybe Yolanda, is this something that we can use our city council budget, individual budgets for?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking about. Yeah.
Say that again, George?
We'd have to look into it. I don't know offhand.
Can you look at it?
How quickly can you look into that?
Because she needs to add like in a day or two.
She said she needed something quick.
Yeah.
We'll do it quickly.
Okay.
And if it's something that our individual city council budgets
Will allow.
then maybe we could do a full page
Yeah, because
from the
of
city
the-
council of the city of Elizabeth, list all of our names
Right.
individually as council members.
And put
We'll
out
have Yolanda
pictures.
do the
I'm gonna
artwork.
take a new picture because my picture's old. Just kidding.
We don't need a picture, but we can list our name.
Wait a minute, put our picture.
Yeah, I want a picture there.
Did you want a picture frame?
No.
Okay, so
A picture with the short.
Councilman Torres?
Yes, Mr. President, just two things.
Oh, wait a minute, I
Are
don't
you,
think I was.
are you still going?
No, he just interrupted.
Oh.
I
I
mean,
didn't
it's
interrupt
okay.
you.
No, I didn't say you interrupted. You interjected into the conversation.
Right, okay.
Okay, where was I?
You still talking about the ad and
Yeah, I
stuff?
was still talking about the ads.
I thought you guys was finished.
No, he just interjected.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
I'm good. I mean, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem having dialogue, but it's just, okay, so we're gonna look into this and then we're gonna.
Can you provide me a copy?
Yeah, you can keep mine. Okay.
That's mine.
Well,
That's what you
What's it yours? Well, we just need to know we just need to know we can, have it done, like tomorrow. Okay. And also lastly, as you all know, this month is, Autism Awareness Month, and I'm working with the health director, to begin to provide some programming or some events for children, on the autism spectrum. So if you know of any, children in your wards who are on the spectrum, just, if you can just give me, the parent's name and telephone number, so I can, begin to develop a database, and, so we can begin to let people know that we, as a government body, understand that there is, this illness, and that we're helping to, relieve some pressure on the families. Okay.
Okay,
That's all.
Councilman,
Yes,
okay,
thank you.
Councilman Torres?
Are you sure I heard that?
Mr. President, okay. Thank you.
Mr. President, I would like to request a traffic study on 3rd and Ripley.
3rd and Ripley?
Basically, School 13 is there, and they have, the kids actually participate in the park right across the street. To me, that was a dangerous intersection. I talked to the principal, I talked to the secretary. They do have issues with cars coming from the mall. So hopefully we can get some type of pedestrian crossing or a
a stop sign there. I know there's a light there right before that on Trumbull Street, but we do have a lot of kids, just like Manny requested for the soccer field, which is, I think it's gonna go through. And lastly, I would like to approve 2 handicapped parking for Mr. John Trevino and Armello Square.
Well, pass it down.
Yes.
I'll give it to the clerk.
And that's all I have, Mr. President.
Councilman Keenan?
Thank you. Subscribing to both the city Facebook and also Twitter, and I saw a post recently that there's a telephone number to report illegal conversions. And these illegal conversions and unsafe housing situations, it's so important that the residents be part of this process because they're the ones that really know in intimate detail what's going on. So I would urge that the city actually put a major effort into advertising what that number is, and also expanding that not only from illegal conversions, but also to unsafe housing conditions. And but I was very pleased when I saw that. Thank you. One other item, Mr. President, we got in your information a request from the Boy Scout Troop 23.
Yes.
So if you don't mind, I would like to submit a commendation for the Boy Scouts, and I'll certainly be there that day to present it. Yolanda, if you could do me a favor, just check the mayor's schedule and make sure that they normally send a letter to the mayor's office at the same time, so I'm assuming it's on his calendar, but just as a double check, so that'd be fine. Thank you very much. That's it.
You need to-
Oh, yeah.
Pass that down.
In case if you did,
Just in case, pass it down.
and then I can give it to him.
That's it, Councilman.
That's it. Thank you.
Councilman Goldman?
Thank you, Mr. President. On that same light, Yolanda, if you may, do me a favor, this Sunday, there's a young man in the Boy Scout Troop 101 who's getting his Eagle Scout. And the troop sent some information on his project to the mayor's office, and the mayor normally prepares a commendation. If we could ask Joanne to get that information so that we can have one done by us, because I'll be there on Sunday to present it to him. And if you can have your staff call me on Friday to make sure I get it before the weekend.
Okay.
Just to piggyback on the issue with the hillside, if everybody's in consensus with it, if we're allowed to use our city council budget for this, I would ask everyone to agree to do a full-page color ad, which is $850, which basically is $100 per councilman. If that's everybody's okay with that.
That's fine.
Everybody okay? And as long as we can use that money.
Sure.
And it wouldn't be political. I think it's just
No, that's
it's just from the city council and list our names and.
Right.
I'm pretty sure once the attorney look into it, investigate it, make sure there's no one's gonna wrap us in
Right.
political,
Right.
then we're clear. You know what I'm saying?
So as long as everybody's okay with that.
Okay, Councilman, anything else?
Yes. I want to just publicly make a comment. Our councilman from the First Ward did a very nice thing by bringing almost 100 kids to go watch the opening night of 40 film regarding Jackie Robinson's history and his biography. Just want to commend the councilman for that, because there are a lot of kids, especially from downtown, who need to see how there's a lot of struggle in people's lives to gain fame. And Jackie Robinson was one of those people who struggled through very difficult odds, and is now one of the people who was recognized every year as a baseball player and for what he was as a man. And I just want to commend the councilman for that. I also wanted, I talk about this all the time, and it just kind of seems like it falls on deaf ears, but I'd like to see our recreation department do stuff like this, whether it's a movie, whether it's, take kids to, Yankee Stadium. I mean, maybe we could allocate some money in that budget, and I'm not saying every single day, but maybe once or twice a year, they could do something. Because we do have a lot of kids in town that probably will never have a chance to go to Yankee Stadium or to a professional basketball game or something. And I think if we could have our recreation department look into maybe doing 2 trips a year. Maybe to a baseball game, maybe to
Soccer
yard
game.
center, soccer game, I mean, anything. I mean, but rotate it so that these kids can get out there, obviously get the chaperones and all that.
volunteer to be a chaperone.
You want to- But I think that the councilman started something which I think is very important, and it's something that I've been harping on for years about the fact that our recreation department could probably do a little bit more in that regard. A lot of times they rely on private organizations, like I run a basketball tournament every night downtown, and I run it and they kind of support it. Okay, but it'd be nice to see them do their own thing. So, whether it's going to fall on deaf ears again or not, but I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you. Good job, Council.
Thank you. Councilman Mazza?
Yeah, Mr. President, I have a memorial for a former guidance counselor and a vice principal of the Elizabeth High School, Alicia McCormick.
Elisa McCormick?
Tomorrow she will be back.
That's it? Councilman? Okay, Councilman Questa?
Yes, Mr. President. I have a few items. You have a list now. First and foremost, actually, I didn't have it written down, but Councilman Grover reminded me. Obviously, what Councilman Torres did was great, and I was aware of it, and he deserves the recognition. Similarly, I would like to commend Councilman Grover because for the past 7 years, he has sponsored a scholarship
Yes.
with my program, and I really appreciate that. Speaking of commendations, Mr. President, I would like to commend Yolanda and her staff. Normally, I try to do my own things, type my own letters, and do what I need to do. Lately, I've been kind of busy, and a couple of things came up at the last minute. I contacted her office, and she took care of those issues immediately for me, and I really appreciate that. I have a question, Mr. President, that we don't have to answer now, but it's something that has been on my mind for a while, especially this year. And it's a question about procedures. When any of us, as a member of City Council, would like to hold a particular item, and it doesn't mean that I disagree with the councilman this time. I just wanted, for the future, because it has happened before. When someone wants to hold an item, and Councilman Grover was gracious enough to say, okay. However, Councilman Grover, it's my understanding, I said, no, I really want this on the agenda. Then we would have to take this to consensus. Is that correct?
Well, ultimately, I think it's the president's.
That's why I'm asking. I don't think so.
I think it falls on the president.
I don't think so. That's why I'm asking. With all due respect to the president, in the past practice has been,
And the practice.
past practice has been that we have taken consensus. I'm only asking because I don't want this to become an issue for any of us in the future. All of us are very emotional, and if there's an item that I want to hold, and somebody says no, I want to say, well, it happened before, I want the item held. So I don't want this to become an issue in the future. I'm trying to avoid a future problem, but having been president of this distinguished body twice, I remember clearly that it was always the advice I received that if another councilman wanted to put the item on the agenda, then you took it to consensus. I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
I always thought it was, I always felt that when it was felt on the shoulder of the president, I observed that before, the same thing, it fell on the shoulder of the president. The president had to finally say. The same thing like when, I'm going to jump from that item to the item the councilwoman wanted the attorney to come before us, and I believe someone was opposing that. So I granted her that wish to allow the councilman to come before us. I think it behoves and falls on the shoulder of the council president, and that's why I did so. The same thing, why Councilman Gonzalez, I did the same thing, and I've seen that happen before.
Okay.
Councilman, can you hold just one minute? Councilman Keeney had his hand, then I'll come back to you. Councilman Keeney.
Thank you. We've all been present. The year that Councilman, the year that I was president, I can't remember the issue, but I specifically had a situation come up where this came up, and our city attorney, Bill Holzapfel, reviewed the statute and the law regarding it, and determined, at least in my case, in that incident, that the president sets the agenda. So, as much as the president might collegially want to offer to hear and acquiesce to the desires of individual council members, the president sets the agenda.
Correct.
But, Mr.
We'll look into it,
We'll look into it.
and we'll let you know.
But that's what I always felt, the same
Yeah.
thing we just said. Councilwoman, I come back to you, Mr. Madison, Councilwoman. Go ahead,
Mr.
Councilwoman.
President, yeah, I thought statutorily it was the
Yes.
prerogative of the president to make the call in terms of setting the agenda. And secondly, I thought several years back, he said as a common courtesy to our colleagues, if someone said, oh, can you hold it up as a common courtesy? You know, you hold it up, or someone said, well, put it on, and if you don't get the information, pull it off. So it's just, it's loose. And I think we try to play it loose, but I think statutorily, it is the prerogative of the president, because the president sets the agenda.
Councilman Madison.
Mr. President, I think I have to disagree because I don't think a majority of your members do remember. Not too long ago, the sixth-ward councilman made a motion to table something that came up pertaining to O'Brien Field, and I was not preview of anything.
Right.
And your honorable body, the whole gang up, and you said, no, blah, 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 something happened. You had no courtesy to a fellow councilman member. Furthermore, I was a city council president in 19, before you became a council. That's okay.
It was in 1992.
Whatever, thank you. But Mr. President, again, we have to have a format that we have to stick with it. It's not that if you are a friend with Mr. Grover, you give him whatever he wants. If you're a friend with Councilman Mazza, you give whatever you want. But if you don't are a friend with Mr. Quest, you take it away. It doesn't work that way. We are the city father, we all have our children.
And the
Every
mother.
children,
And the mother.
and a mother, I'm
We're
sorry.
the city leaders.
Right, leaders.
Not fathers.
Okay, I'm saying,
It's leaders.
Okay.
21st century.
again, whatever you want to say.
No, it's leaders.
Okay, I want to say, we are city fathers.
I'm not a father.
Okay, well, you're a mother, and city father and a mother, we all care for our children. We give it the same share of food. If we have a loaf of bread, we subdivide that among our children.
Parents.
As a parent, as you might want to say. But, whenever you learn not to interrupt me or dialogue, because I don't like to dialogue.
I see that.
But and I wish you're learning once and for all. Don't interrupt me, Mr. President. You're supposed to be the person that had the gavel. I didn't ask her that I interrupted when she speak or when Mr. Keenan spoke. No.
Actually,
Councilwoman.
you interrupt all the time when Yolanda's reading. You over there
No,
talking
no,
to
no. That's yours. Stop lying. Stop lying. Stop lying.
Excuse me, stop what?
Stop lying.
Why would I be
Because I
lying?
never interrupt you.
No, but you over there talking to
Excuse
about
me,
what the city
Mr.
in that
President.
year
Councilwoman,
as the city
you gotta
clerk is
allow
calling
him,
the reading.
Councilman, he has the
Again.
floor.
I don't know. Then you want to see, you want to be a gentleman where somebody doesn't.
When they get
Councilwoman, he has the floor.
Mr.
selective
President,
memory.
I never interrupt. If I go to Yolanda, I'm very gentleman to
But you're
Yolanda.
talking to Dawn as she's reading.
Councilwoman.
No, I'm not interrupting anybody. Again,
Yes, you do.
I have question that I put on the side because the chair goes so quickly. I'm putting things on the agenda, and
So
If
he
I have-
doesn't give you the right
Mr.
to talk to
President,
him on the
Councilwoman,
side.
allow him to finish, please.
I put things on the side in order to ask the gentleman to give me an answer, because again, some people like to interrupt, and they never look themselves in the mirror.
You don't look in the
How
mirror
well they are,
either.
but yes, you
don't
have
do
to look in the mirror,
Every
and
time.
once and for all, you just have to close your mouth.
You
Simple as
too.
that. When I have the floor, you don't answer me back, okay?
tell me what
And
to
you
do.
don't correct me what to do,
I
because
can
you do
correct
not
you.
have the floor.
All right, okay,
You know
all
what
right, okay,
happened to
okay.
another meeting? You lost the case in court
So
for throwing
what?
somebody
So
out.
what?
The city paid $175,000 because of your negligence. Remember that.
So what?
Because of your negligence.
No, so
And this might happen again, because if you don't learn,
You both,
I have the floor,
you're both
Mr.
the right
So
order.
what?
President.
You're both the right order.
I have the floor.
You're both the right order.
Again,
He
You're
said
both
we
the right
both.
order.
Both.
You're both the right order.
Both
So-
means two of us.
So you're both gonna have to calm yourself down. Okay, you're gonna calm
I
yourself down.
have the floor.
He told you you're out of order.
You're both gonna calm yourself down, and I'll run the meeting.
Thank you.
Now,
That's right, gotta
if
run.
you wanna speak, you'll raise your hand. I'll give you permission to speak. I do not deny anyone to speak, but I will not tolerate anyone from stepping on each other. I said that before, and I'll say it again. So, Councilwoman, you gotta let him finish. Frank, wrap it up as soon as you can, because you had the floor for over 5 minutes. I'll give
Mr.
you
President,
the
but I've been interrupted. That's,
go ahead.
you have to
Come
make
on.
sure that she doesn't interrupt me.
Come on,
I don't
Councilman.
interrupt her.
Wrap it up.
Otherwise, what's the sense of give me the floor? I don't want the floor, Mr. President,
Councilman, wrap it
because
up.
there's no courtesy to the councilman,
Councilman, wrap it up. Come on,
okay?
go ahead.
Now, I put things on the side, Mr. President, in order to ask questions because I didn't get a chance to read it, information, and put them on. So I'm gonna read, I'm gonna ask questions. I have questions over here to find out. And, you know, sometime when you guys have your own conversation there, I just point that out to them, I give a piece of paper. That's not interrupting Yolanda. Yolanda, she could do whatever she wants.
Councilman, wrap it up.
Okay, that's it, Mr. Chairman. What my point is, because
your point.
I get interrupted all the time, and I gotta make a point. My point is, I don't want to be interrupted when I have the floor, period. Thank you.
Are you finished?
I'm finished.
Thank you. Councilman, question?
Yes, I had not finished, Mr. President. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. President, all right, let's move away from that other issue about procedures.
Thanks, Rick.
Yeah.
Just sit me after the meeting.
Yeah. No, I was actually trying to avoid a problem. I'm looking for trying to avoid a problem.
I have a lot to go on that side.
Mr. President, I really get excited when a citizen tries to do something positive and good for the city.
Yes.
And I have a friend by the name of Oscar who has decided that he wants to really work actively in promoting the businesses in Elizabeth. So the idea he came up with, he's going to select a restaurant once a month and invite members of city council and invite his friends and invite the public at large. And in return, he's going to make sure that particular restaurant gives a discount to anyone that goes there for dinner. He asked me personally to invite you this Thursday, the 19th, I believe it is. He's having, not he, but Dolce is sponsoring this event.
Happy hour.
And a happy hour, so to speak.
Happy hour.
Happy hour, so to speak, that unfortunately many of the local businesses do not do. It's something that usually takes place. And he made a good point. Somebody wants to go out and have a drink and have dinner. Why drive 45 minutes when in Elizabeth we have quite a few good places? So he did it once already a month ago. Now he's going to do it at Dolce this coming Thursday. I'm inviting all of you who would like to attend. It starts at 5, it's 5 to 9. Personally, I think it's a wonderful idea, and he should be commended for it. And I intend to attend this event. Yes.
Can I ask him a question?
Wait a minute. Let me, you got your chance, Councilman. Let me just go around, once around. then-
No, I haven't finished though.
Go ahead,
I
Councilman.
haven't finished.
That's why I said go ahead.
So I finished with that point. But there are two other things. If, simple thing, quick, not simple, actually one is complicated, but if I have an ABC question, should I wait until the ABC meeting? Will I have the opportunity to discuss it at the ABC meeting on Monday?
Yes.
We will, at the end of the meeting, correct?
I'll allow you to, yes.
Okay. All right, finally, Mr. President, I think obviously by now, and I hope this is not controversial what I'm going to suggest, but as I learned today, the President sets the agenda. But we are all aware of the tremendous tragedy in Boston. It reminds me of many other things that I have experienced as a councilman. Definitely 9/11 and then the loss of the astronauts later on.
Kids.
So what I would ask, because actually some people did die, and from what I heard this afternoon, quite a few more in critical conditions. What I would ask respectfully is for City Council to hold a moment of silence on behalf of those people who have suffered so much
Next Tuesday,
in Boston now, tonight.
tonight, okay.
Tonight. I would respectfully ask for us to do that.
Okay.
If everyone is in agreement, I would like to do that, and recognizing those individuals, who got hurt, and some of them, including an 8-year-old boy who died.
So, okay, I'll finish, Councilman?
Yes.
Okay, Councilman Sedana?
Yes, I have a shorter list than my colleague. The first one, I completely agree with Councilman Grova, how he mentioned, and I think everyone here, of course, we're on the same page, having more for our youth in the city. And on that note, which maybe the recreation department could pick up, I was very saddened, and I know everyone here feels the same way, when I found out that the fishing derby had to be canceled because the police department can't run. And I think it's really sad. You know, that's an event, citywide event that the kids really love. And a lot of police officers like Dennis Corbali, Vito, like, you know, they worked so hard to make that happen. So I think that's a prime example of something that if there's any way that we could make a note for the recreation department to see, even if we could try to pull it off for this summer, because I know kids are asking, it's a tradition for the city of Elizabeth. And I know it's something, you know, the funding is not there from the police department side, but if we could resurrect it, it would be perfect. Just wanted to know, Yolanda, if you received any word from the crossing guard situation in the corner? Not yet. Okay. And lastly, I know I've mentioned this before a couple times, is I received a phone call from a couple people from Oakwood Plaza, including Mrs. Wallace, who many of us know. And she even mentioned it after I brought it up, and I said I'll bring it up again, but just the concern of the fire trucks parked in the crosswalk on Prince Street. A lot of sometimes the personal vehicles, or sometimes it's the fire vehicles like the SUVs.
Oh, right on the corner of Prince and Irvington?
Yeah, Prince and Irvington on the crosswalk. So they park there, and what happens, it forces all the kids and everyone to walk on the street. And my greatest concern is, you know, when is it going to stop? When the kid gets hit by a vehicle, God forbid. Like, you know, it's just, it shouldn't be so. So if it could be looked into, but that's pretty much it. Thank you very much.
Councilman Gonzalez?
Yeah, Mr. President, piggybacking on Councilman Cedeno's idea about the fishing derby, and he talked about getting this ad for Hillside. I mean, I would be one to be willing to contribute from my budget, if we could, to help support this, if the Recreation Department or the Police Department. I think that would be a well worthwhile event for City Council to sponsor for the city youth, the City of Elizabeth, if we can all come to agreement on that. Well, we have to see what the cost is. We can find out from the Police Department what they would spend with the hot dogs and everything, the fishing rods and the gifts that they gave the kids. If it's something that, I mean, I think it would be, yes.
We could use the bikes from the auction.
Oh, yeah. You know, I thought about that, but if they were new,
yeah, that's true.
if they're new,
Yeah.
then, you know, so that, and then the only other thing, and I have to get Yolanda the information, I heard we lost one of our firemen today, died of a heart attack.
Yes, 47.
So I want to make sure we include him as part of our memorial.
47 years of age.
At the citizen.
Right, I'm going to add just a couple things, especially about the fishing derby. I'm going to speak to Recreation myself personally and see if they can sponsor it, and we can kind of work with it. And I'll let you guys know quick as I get the information. I'm going to reach out to the director the first thing tomorrow morning, as soon as I can. And if I get an answer, I can get back to all of you individually and let you know how that goes. The other thing is, I'm very concerned. Sometime this next month, I should say, which is May, I'm going to help work with Deborah Marshall, which is Judge Marshall's wife, on prostate cancer. But I also want to designate the month of June prostate cancer awareness month, because it's important that we as men, especially at the over age of 40, make sure they get themselves screened for prostate, because as you know, that we had one of our police officers strict with that. He's, matter of fact, he's cancer-free, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. When you can go through that test and the operation. Also, research has been done now that you don't have to have the operation. So it doesn't hurt to go get yourself tested and screened, and making sure that we're cancer-free. And I always feel like early detection is worth a pound of cure. So if you're over 40, which I know Councilman Quest is just 20 years younger than that.
Thank you, Mr. President.
But anyway, I'll lay it all joke aside. This is a serious matter, gentlemen, so we need to get ourselves checked. So I want to thank you for that. Councilwoman, I know you said you had something else. I know we went around. Did you
No, I
have-
just wanted to ask, the event at Dolce's, is that with the Elizabeth, the historic district?
No, it's
Okay,
that's an individual do that himself.
Came from Janice, but it's not.
Yeah, nothing to do, no, not from her, no.
Because she's sending,
Right.
Okay.
But it's not her event.
That's not her event.
but it's I know, but it's under Elizabeth, what is it?
Historic.
Historic, yeah.
Yeah, she might be promoting the event, but no, not. It's a free event, by the way, no one is making any money from this. It's simply promoting the restaurant.
No, you have to buy, it's a.
Well, you have to pay for your things,
Yeah.
but I mean, you don't have to pay at the door. It's like me inviting you to a restaurant. Once we get to the restaurant, whatever we consume there, we're
But
responsible
is
for.
that Oscar from EDC? Is that the Oscar who's doing?
That's Oscar, yes. He works there.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Yes.
before we close, because you raised a good point, I thought about this and I completely forgot to mention it. If we can, Yolanda, reach out to Trinitas Hospital, see if they're willing to do this. We read about in the paper a lot of these kids in high school and that are dying on the fields because they got heart problems, they got blood pressure problems. If they would be willing to cooperate with us, maybe once in the spring and once in the fall before the soccer season and football season, that they would come down to the waterfront and provide free blood pressure and screening for all the kids that play sports. Because we don't need to have that happen in Elizabeth. I don't know about the Board of Ed, they might have their own health requirements, but I'm talking about like the Packers and the Elizabeth Youth Soccer and a couple other soccer programs. There's no requirement that we impose other than we have them fill out a form saying, medical release form, but we don't have them examined. Usually the schools require that.
Yes.
But there are a lot of kids that don't play sports for the schools and play for us. And maybe we could, maybe the Packers, Little Youth Soccer, a couple of other organizations can work with the hospital to set the date and kind of make it, but they would have to provide the service.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Councilman Mazin, one last.
Mr. President, the second word councilman mentioned that a fireman died. Do we have
Yes.
the name or how did he die about it?
I think I had a heart attack. I think
It was
On the job?
Yeah, yes. I
No,
don't know,
No, I don't
I
think
know
it
I
was
was
on the
told it was a
job.
heart attack.
Yeah, 47, and I don't remember the name. I was given the name, but I don't recall it right now.
They got the information to me, Frank, it was just that he had died of a heart attack, but I don't know whether he was on the
Tax
job.
collector.
Okay. Okay, can I have a motion to close?
No.
Oh,
Moment of silence.
Moment of silence. Got the moment of silence. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. So, I want to wait till the calendar got